The day we were scheduled to take our wedding photos, Chloe's first love made a reappearance. Without a second thought for me, she grabbed the nearest woman, a photographer, and shoved her in my direction. "You can just take the pictures with her," she said dismissively. "We'll Photoshop me in later." I just stood there, staring at my ex-girlfriend standing in front of me, completely lost for words. My ex, Ava, offered a small, knowing smile. "So," she began, her voice a soft melody I hadn't heard in a year. "Shall we take these photos?" We didn't just take the pictures. We ended up getting married. Chloe, of course, regretted her decision later. "Why did you have to take her seriously?" she'd demanded. But by then it was far too late. I was sitting on a plush sofa in the photo studio, mindlessly flipping through a bridal magazine, while my fiancée, Chloe, stood a short distance away, cooing into her phone to her first love. "Don't worry, I'll be there as soon as I can," she promised, her voice dripping with a sweetness she never used with me. I heard the click as she hung up, and then her footsteps approached. She looked anxious, her brow furrowed. "Liam, something's come up that I absolutely have to deal with. I need to go." I stood up slowly, meeting her gaze. "What is it? Is he on his deathbed?" Chloe's expression soured. "Don't say things like that. He just has a cold." The studio staff nearby were trying their best to look busy, but their poorly concealed whispers were obvious. I continued to look at Chloe, my voice level. "You do realize it's just a cold, right?" A muffled chuckle came from one of the assistants, and a few other onlookers couldn't hide their amusement either. Chloe shot a quick, embarrassed glance over her shoulder. She pressed her lips together into a thin line and let out a cold, sharp laugh. "It's just wedding photos. Anyone can take them." With that, she spun around, grabbed a woman from the staff, and pushed her towards me. "Take the photos with this photographer. Just Photoshop me in later." And with that, she hurried out of the studio, so consumed with worry for her first love that she failed to even register who she had just picked as her stand-in. It was my first love. Ava's face, a sight I never expected to see again, was just as stunning as I remembered. I swallowed hard, my throat suddenly feeling like sandpaper. I couldn't find the words to speak. Ava just smiled, her captivating dark eyes shimmering with a familiar light. She was the picture of elegance and independence, yet there was a carefree spirit about her that was all her own. With a perfectly arched eyebrow, she asked again, "Shall we take the photos?" I was slow to respond, my brain still trying to catch up. Are you working here?" I managed to ask. Ava's expression was unreadable as she softly replied, "Just passing by." She didn't miss a beat, posing the question once more. "Shall we?" I took a deep breath. Chloe had run off to be with her first love, so why shouldn't I take my wedding photos with mine? It seemed perfectly logical in a twisted sort of way. Yes. Ava was remarkably cooperative, heading off to change into a wedding gown without any fuss. Once we were positioned in front of the camera, the photographer awkwardly suggested we get closer. "Relax a little," he prompted. I turned my head to look at Ava. She gently lifted the corner of her mouth into a soft smile, and her slender hand circled my waist, a gesture so natural and familiar, it sent a jolt through me. "Where's your fiancé?" Ava asked, her voice calm, and I was amazed at how easily she could bring up the topic. I shifted her hand slightly, though I didn't remove it, maintaining the sweet smile for the camera. She went to see her first love. Ava looked at me, a deep and unreadable emotion in her eyes. In the photos, we must have looked like a deeply loving couple, or perhaps a couple on the verge of becoming real. "Oh, like us right now?" she murmured. "Okay, next pose," the photographer called out. "Let's get a bit more intimate." Ava's face moved slowly toward mine. Her deliberate, seductive style of kissing had always been my undoing, leaving me wanting more. My heart began to hammer against my ribs, and I instinctively closed my eyes. Her lips brushed against my ear as she whispered, "Are you free tonight?" Her voice was a low, teasing purr. Despite being surrounded by people, she asked with such confidence that I was the one left feeling shy and unable to answer. My heart pounded with a cocktail of guilt and thrilling excitement, threatening to burst from my chest. As we shifted positions for the next shot, I leaned close to her and whispered back, "I have a fiancé." A soft scoff from Ava echoed just loudly enough for me to hear. What was I even thinking? Her gentle voice pulled me from my spiraling thoughts. "Where is your fiancé now?" I looked up quickly, meeting her bright, questioning eyes. Yes, where was Chloe? I didn't answer that question. Instead, I answered the one from before. "I'm free tonight." Ava seemed pleased with my response, a bright grin spreading across her face. She hadn't changed at all. She could still draw me in with effortless grace. The photos turned out spectacularly well. The photographer couldn't stop praising our chemistry. "You two work so well together," he gushed. "You're perfectly in sync. Every gesture, every look is so natural. Especially the groom's gaze. It's so intense, and the bride meets it with equal passion. It's full of story." A staff member had to gently remind him, "You do realize they aren't actually together, right?" The photographer looked from Ava to me, the realization finally dawning on him as he slapped his forehead. "Oh, right. You two didn't even know each other, did you?" Ava walked over to the desk. "Can I get the digital copies now?" The staff member hesitated. "We haven't edited them yet." Ava simply produced a card from her purse. "I can pay extra." "All right then," the assistant agreed quickly, taking the card and getting to work. I changed back into my street clothes and checked my phone. It was filled with missed calls and unread messages, but not a single one was from Chloe. Good. I was absolutely, unequivocally free tonight. Outside, the city lights were beginning to flicker on as dusk settled. "Want to go straight to my place?" I asked Ava. Her dark eyes glimmered with a sly, knowing smile that was breathtaking in the urban glow. "Let's go to the supermarket first," she replied. My mind immediately went to embarrassing places, but I just nodded. "Sure, there's a big one right around the corner." So, the two of us walked over together. This was, admittedly, my first time going with Ava to buy contraceptives. As we entered the store, I followed her lead. Even though I had never purchased them before, and only had a vague idea of where they were, I assumed they'd be near the checkout counter. When Ava started walking deeper into the aisles, I gently held her back, pointing toward the little boxes near the cashiers. "They're right here," I said. Ava looked back at me, then followed my gaze to where I was pointing, and paused. A wave of panic washed over me. "Please don't tell me I got it wrong." She let out a silent, soft chuckle. "Don't worry," she said. "Let's buy groceries first." Then she took my hand, and we walked further into the store. Ava held my hand with one of hers while she pushed the shopping cart with the other, steering us toward the vegetable section. "What do you want to eat?" she asked. All I wanted was to hold on to this moment with her, whatever we ate. Outside, a light snow had begun to fall. "How about hot pot?" she suggested, and then started placing fresh vegetables into the cart, letting go of my hand to do so. Next came seafood, rolls of beef and lamb, all of my favorites. "Is that enough?" she asked. I shook my head. Ava paused for a moment. "Do you have extra toiletries at your place?" I swallowed. "Yeah." "All right then." She took my hand again, just like she used to before we broke up, so naturally it felt like no time had passed at all. At the checkout line, she casually picked up 2 boxes of contraceptives and placed them on the conveyor belt with the rest of our items. Back at my apartment, Ava walked into my kitchen, unsurprised by the pristine, brand-new kitchenware. "I don't cook at home," I explained. "I don't know how." She didn't ask where anything was, not that I would have known the answer anyway. She had already bought all the necessary spices and ingredients and began preparing everything. As the host, all I could do was sit on the couch and wait for dinner. Chloe still hadn't made any attempt to contact me. Ava came out of the kitchen, saw me staring at my phone, and gave a cold laugh. "Waiting for your fiancé to call?" "No." I put my phone down, meeting her gaze. "I'm afraid she'll call." That was the honest truth. Things had reached a point where the conclusion was obvious. I didn't want to remain entangled with Chloe any longer. Ava's lips curved into a soft smirk. "Wash up. It's time to eat." The steam from the hot pot rose between us, and through the gentle mist I looked at her, feeling an unexpected thrill. "When did you get back?" I asked. Ava placed some cooked mushrooms into my bowl, her tone even and calm. "About a week ago." I picked up a mushroom, her voice echoing in my ear. "It's hot." My eyes focused on the food in my bowl. "Did you just happen to pass by that photo studio today?" "No," she said simply. My heart raced. The feeling was both strange and intensely familiar. Only being with Ava made my heart beat with such vivid intensity. "So, why did you go in?" Her tone remained lazy, almost nonchalant. "I saw you go in." The answer, which I had somehow expected, stirred my emotions even more. I looked up at her directly. "Ava, do you still like me?" Ava stood up, placing a slice of cooked beef into my bowl. As she leaned closer, I heard her say, "When did I ever stop liking you?" Ava and I had been classmates in college. Even from the beginning, she was a campus legend, mostly because of her astonishing beauty. I, being a sucker for a pretty face, fell for her at first sight. But it was she who pursued me. Like all first loves, it was wonderful and intense. We loved each other deeply, the kind of affection that, even years later, would bring a warmth to my memories. But we didn't just love each other. We also competed. Scholarships, student council presidency, academic rankings. She never once yielded to me, and I never yielded to her. We carried that competitive spirit from school into the professional world. Perhaps because we both had high standards and oddly similar tastes, we always found ourselves vying for the same projects. It continued like this until, eventually, we broke up. I was the one who ended it. During that time, I was under immense pressure. My parents hoped I would achieve something significant and eventually take over the family business. But my cousin was also highly competent. 5 years my senior, and with far more experience, he was a natural rival. The one project I had set my sights on, the one that would have secured my position, was snatched up by Ava. The deputy CEO position fell into my cousin's hands. That was the first time I lost my temper with her over our competition. "Are you even my girlfriend anymore?" I had demanded. Ava was completely unfazed. "Liam, if I hold back, it's an insult to you." I took a deep breath, closing my eyes. "I'm tired, Ava. Let's break up." She didn't agree, of course. After a few more arguments, I finally yelled at her to leave. And she really did. She went abroad, and suddenly there was no one left to compete with. It was around that time that Chloe returned from overseas. Chloe and I had known each other since childhood. We essentially grew up together. I was well aware of her history with Mark. They had been together since high school and had gone abroad together after graduation, their relationship a long series of on-again, off-again dramas over the years. Chloe chose to return after Mark broke up with her. Our families began working closely together, and so Chloe and I agreed to an arranged marriage. I never knew why she agreed. I only knew that after losing the deputy CEO position, my focus shifted to becoming the CEO. Marrying Chloe would give me more leverage in that competition. A year ago, our families publicly announced our engagement, and both of our companies' stock prices surged. Coming to take wedding photos today was another well-publicized event. I figured that if I hadn't seen Chloe talking to Mark on the phone, we would probably be getting our marriage license tomorrow. But she went to see him, and she still hadn't contacted me. She was probably still with him now. A man and a woman, alone together, especially exes. What could happen was obvious, and what would happen between Ava and me tonight was just as clear. After dinner, Ava was in the kitchen washing the dishes. I thought about rekindling the relationship that had been broken for a year, so I followed her in. "I'll help you," I offered. "No need," she said. I stood there silently for a moment. Suddenly, she called out my name. "Liam." It was the first time she'd said it since we reunited. My heart skipped a beat. "What's up?" I responded quickly. She continued washing the dishes, her low voice carrying a serious weight. "Break off the engagement with her." Her obviously referred to Chloe. I smirked. "You don't have to tell me. Chloe has probably already gone several rounds with Mark by now. Marrying her would be disgusting. Even if it's an arranged marriage, I need someone clean." Ava looked at me, a teasing smile playing in her eyes. "I thought you liked her." It sounded a bit salty. I rolled my eyes. "So you came back knowing I was going to take wedding photos with her?" Ava admitted it openly. "Yeah, I knew." "Then you must have seen the news about my engagement to Chloe a year ago. Why didn't you come back to stop it?" She put down the bowl she was washing and turned to face me, her gaze serious. "Would you have canceled the engagement if I had come back then?" I shook my head. "No." Back then, I was still angry and stubborn. I had thought that since we broke up, that was it for us. Agreeing to the engagement with Chloe was a firm decision. If Ava had come back to stop it, given my personality at the time, it would have only made things more awkward between us. Ava knew me well. She went back to washing the dishes. I walked over to her. "Weren't you worried I might have had something with Chloe over this past year?" Ava paused for a second, then resumed her task. "I didn't think about it." I thought she was being pretty laid back about the whole thing, but then she suddenly put the bowl down and looked at me. "But now I am thinking about it." She came closer. "Did anything happen?" "Nope," I replied. "Chloe doesn't like me and I don't like her. What could possibly happen?" Ava's eyes were as dark and deep as the night outside. The next morning, when I opened my eyes, Ava was lying beside me, staring at her phone. It felt so right, so real, like this wasn't some fleeting dream. I moved closer. "What are you doing?" I saw that her phone screen was displaying our wedding photos from yesterday. In the years when my feelings for her were at their peak, I had often thought about marrying her. I never imagined our wedding photos would be taken under these circumstances. "What's so interesting about them?" I reached over and tapped her phone. Ava turned to look at me. "They're pretty." "What's pretty about them?" I got out of bed and looked down at her sitting there. "They still need to be photoshopped." Ava gritted her teeth, a slight fierceness in her expression. "Didn't get enough last night?" My face flushed as I glared at her, holding my aching waist as I headed to the bathroom. Behind me, her laughter echoed, full of the arrogance she always displayed when she bested me. It was like this whether we were in school or in the business world. Ava and I were evenly matched in almost every way, but in this particular matter, I was no match for her. All I could do was watch her be smug, and it drove me crazy. At the bathroom door, I couldn't resist turning back to glare at her. "Just you wait. Someday I'll get you." Ava casually flipped the covers back, her arms spread wide and eyebrows raised, looking like a mischievous fox. "Bring it on." I got ready and headed out to the kitchen, where Ava had breakfast waiting, 2 bowls of greens and noodles. As I lowered my head to eat, she reminded me, "Don't forget to break off the engagement." I agreed. After breakfast, I went straight to my father's company, a part of our family business, to find my parents. In the office, after I explained everything, both of my parents looked extremely displeased. My mom asked, "So, what's your plan?" Hearing this, my dad looked up at me as well. I didn't hesitate. "Break off the engagement." Then I corrected myself. "No, that's not right. Not breaking it off, but calling the whole thing off. Why should I give Chloe an easy way out after the disgusting way she acted, let alone a graceful breakup?" My mom nodded in satisfaction, looking at me with approval. "That's my boy. Yes, let's call it off entirely." My dad gave my mom a helpless look and shook his head with a smile. "Our son certainly takes after you." Of course I wanted to be like my mom. A self-made success story. I realized now that relying on yourself is always the best path. There's no need for arranged marriages. "All right. You two clearly don't need me then," my dad huffed, obviously a little jealous that he'd let my mom handle smoothing things over. After making a plan to officially end things at Chloe's family home tomorrow, I got busy with work. It wasn't until after 8 in the evening that I got back to my apartment. Stepping out of the elevator, I was surprised to see Ava waiting at my door. I hurried over. "Why didn't you go in?" Ava stood with her arms crossed, leaning against the wall, one eyebrow raised. "I don't have the code or my fingerprint registered. How was I supposed to get in?" She had a sarcastic streak sometimes. I took her hand, registered her fingerprint for the electronic lock, and gave her the code. "Just come in next time." Suddenly she pulled me close, her lips pressing hot against mine as she pushed me against the door. "Isn't this a bit rushed?" I murmured against her mouth, my hands finding her waist as I kissed her back. It was in that moment that I fully realized just how much I had missed her over the year we were apart. We might still argue fiercely and challenge each other, but I never wanted to be apart from her again. "Liam?" I vaguely heard someone calling my name, but my senses were filled with Ava, her breath, her touch. I heard it only faintly, thinking it was a hallucination. Then, Ava suddenly released my lips. I lifted my head and followed her gaze. Chloe's furious face came into view. She was storming toward us like a ticking time bomb. Ava let go of me and stepped forward just as Chloe swung her hand to slap her. With lightning speed, Ava caught Chloe's wrist and slapped her across the face. The force of the blow sent Chloe stumbling to the ground. She scrambled back up like a lunatic and lunged at Ava again, cursing, "You touch my man, I'll kill you!" Once again, Ava kicked her down, this time pressing one foot firmly on Chloe's stomach. Ava's voice was low and cold, demanding obedience. "Liam's not yours!" Chloe spat out a bit of blood, wiped her mouth messily, and glared up at me. "Liam, you cheat on me." She couldn't finish her sentence because Ava pressed harder on her stomach. "You know what you've done. Keep your mouth clean." Ava withdrew her foot, turned, grabbed my hand, and used my fingerprint to unlock the door, leading me inside and closing it firmly behind us. Frantic knocking immediately started at the door. I was annoyed and about to deal with it when Ava cupped my cheeks. "Focus." I lost track of when the knocking finally stopped. Ava's presence was too overwhelming. After a year apart, I only realized Chloe had left while we were in the middle of eating dinner. I didn't want to see her again, but I knew we'd have to meet to officially break off the engagement, though my parents had said they would handle the formalities. After the engagement was officially terminated, my mom called to say it was done, and that we should find a time to make a public announcement. Even though we don't like that girl, Chloe, We shouldn't completely ruin our family's relationship with hers, my mom said. We still have to keep up appearances. I understood. You shouldn't make enemies lightly. Mom, I know. Let Dad know I'm fine. In fact, I was doing really well now. She laughed proudly. I know my son, focusing on his career. I'm so proud. I felt a pang of guilt and stayed silent. The truth was, I wasn't focusing purely on my career. It was just that Chloe's drama didn't matter to me. But with Ava back, I found myself wanting to spoil her. My mom's voice came through the phone again. But you should still enjoy life. Eat well, have fun. Don't just focus on work. Dating is important too. Don't worry, Mom. I won't ignore my love life. She paused. Has someone caught your eye? I chuckled. Mom, I'm busy. Bye. I quickly hung up. Just then, Ava wrapped her arms around me from behind, pressing gentle kisses into my neck. Is the breakup settled? She murmured. I'm ticklish, so I squirmed and teased her. No. Ava paused her kisses and bit me playfully, her hands slipping under my shirt. I stopped her hands and pulled her over to the couch, where she sat down obediently, waiting. I loved how cooperative she could be, but my phone, it seemed, was not going to cooperate. Just as I was about to take things further, it rang. It was Chloe. She still wanted to see me. Ava's grip on my waist tightened like a vice. Don't go. Just one last time, I said, cupping her face and kissing her lips. I have some unfinished business. Chloe insulting me like that. If Ava hadn't appeared at the studio, Chloe would have just picked some random person for our engagement pictures. I couldn't let that slide. We met at a quiet cafe, a calm place that was good for talking. She started right in. Who is that woman, Liam? We've been together for a year and you won't even hold my hand, but you're all over her. Don't forget we're getting engaged. Chloe pursed her lips, nodding as she continued. I know I shouldn't have left you at the wedding shoot. I shouldn't have gone to see Mark. But you know how deep my history with Mark is, Liam. Now that he's back, how could I just ignore him? She sighed dramatically. Mark is sick. I was confused until she added, but don't worry, you're still my priority. I can't ignore Mark, though. He's sick and all alone. There's only me. Her breathing steadied as she adopted a serious expression. So, you and that woman. Just this once, okay? But it's the last time. That woman was the one I randomly picked at the studio, right? You just wanted revenge, huh? I'll admit I was wrong. I interrupted her. Did your parents not tell you? She paused. Tell me what? I sat up straighter. Since your parents didn't inform you, I will. Chloe, I'm not marrying you. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? I smiled. It means I don't want you. Chloe shot to her feet. Who are you calling trash? Her outburst drew gazes from the other patrons. She quickly sat back down, whispering harshly, Liam, you know the nature of our engagement. Don't act so childish. And I'm not marrying Mark. I, Chloe, won't marry someone who is unwanted. Yes, I was with him. But weren't you with that photographer too? We're even. I stood up and faced her. She thought I was going to back down, slightly raising her chin. Liam, you know why I'm here, she said, her voice laced with confidence. I asked her with a smile. Do you? Chloe smiled back. Liam, we've known each other since we were kids. You've always been someone who cares about the big picture. That's the quality I admire most in you. I shook my head slightly. No, I'm here to give you something. Before Chloe could ask what it was, I couldn't wait any longer and slapped her across the face. Perfect. Everyone's attention was on us now. Chloe's face went from red to white as she glared at me in disbelief. Chloe, I'll let it go that you humiliated me at the photography studio, but if you ever show up and disgust me again, I won't care about our childhood friendship anymore. I wasn't sure if I had stunned her or scared her. As I left the cafe, she caught up and grabbed my wrist tightly. "Liam!" I shook her hand off and got into my car, which was parked nearby. Ava was in the driver's seat. She started the engine. "All sorted?" I nodded. Ava took my wrist, her thumb rubbing gently over my skin. "Can I visit your folks now?" she asked. She was completely serious, a departure from her usual laid-back demeanor. "I've wanted to meet them for a while." I knew what she meant. If I hadn't lost that project to her a year ago, missing out on the VP spot at the company, we might have already met each other's parents. "I'm still a bit worried," I admitted. "Do you think we'll get impulsive and split up again?" "I won't." Ava's reply was clear and firm. She gently squeezed my hand. "I know what you're worried about. Sometimes I think maybe I should just let you win and stop competing. After we broke up, I thought about it every single day. Liam, I can let you win. I can do it forever, but it won't help you in the slightest." I nodded. "I know." When we broke up, it wasn't that I blamed her for not letting me win. I had just lost to my cousin and was upset, and I took it out on her. I knew that was on me. "Ava, I won't talk about breaking up lightly anymore." "Well, it's about time," she teased. My parents hadn't known I had been dating anyone, let alone someone like Ava. At the time, I had wanted to win against her and then proudly bring her home. Looking back now, it was laughable how competitive I had been. A year ago, my folks were naturally thrilled with Ava. They arranged a dinner with her parents to discuss our wedding. When it was just the two of us, I couldn't help but say, had we gotten engaged earlier, maybe my grandpa would have been so happy he'd have made me VP. The thought excited me. "Do you think he'd make me the CEO?" Ava rolled her eyes. "Are you marrying me or forging a business alliance?" I pouted. "My bad. It's not an alliance. It's a power couple." Ava ruffled my hair. "I'll run the bath. Want to join me?" I jumped up. "No way, I still have work to do. Can I borrow your laptop?" I darted into her study, successfully avoiding the bath invitation. I knew her laptop password, my name in Pinyin, and her birthday. I had my eye on a new project, one that I had initially planned to pursue with Chloe. Now I wanted to snag it for myself. I swear I wasn't snooping, but I accidentally clicked on a folder labeled with my name and a date. I couldn't help it. Inside were some photos from the past year and a trove of information about Chloe. Ava had records of all her contacts with Mark, even knowing the exact date he returned to the country. I remembered Ava telling me when Mark had returned, and it lined up perfectly with her knowledge. I had always thought Ava was cool-headed and detached, but it turned out she had been aware of everything all along. But since Chloe and I had only just announced a business partnership with no concrete moves yet, she had stayed quiet. Ava walked in, saw me looking at the files, and didn't seem awkward at all. I gave her a side eye. "If I had married Chloe, would you have crashed the wedding?" Ava cleared her throat, then said confidently, "Chloe is trouble. I'd crash that wedding anytime." I waved her off. "Leave, I have to work. I'm getting this project no matter what." I underestimated Chloe's ambition. We met again at a business event. She brought Mark along, and they were as transparent as ever. Chloe's look screamed, "You didn't cherish me, and now I'm with someone else. It's too late for you." Mark's eyes seemed to say, "I gave you a year, you blew it, and Chloe is still mine. Why was I stuck with these two idiots?" Laughing would make me seem shallow, so I held it in as they approached. Chloe glanced at my sides and sneered. "Just you? Where's your partner?" Before I could speak, she added, "Oh, right, I forgot, she's just a photographer. No way she'd be at an event like this." Chloe let go of Mark and walked over to me. She leaned in close and whispered, "Feeling any regret? Breaking off our engagement for some photographer?" "Liam, I'm giving you another chance. If you just give in now, you can still have your place by my side. I turned to Mark and said loudly, "She's telling me that if I give in, my place next to her is still mine." Chloe's face turned a shade of green. Mark's expression was priceless. "What nonsense are you spouting?" Chloe said, quickly returning to Mark's side. "Don't listen to him." Mark was struggling to keep his composure, but tried to hold his ground. Later, while I was in the restroom, he hurried over to warn me. "Stay away from Chloe," he hissed. I laughed. "What right do you have to warn me? You were the other man when she and I were still engaged." Mark tilted his chin up. "Chloe has always loved me. The one who is not loved is the other person." I was speechless. Their logic was twisted, and they really were a match made in, well, somewhere. "But Mark, if Chloe really loves you, why did she leave you to come back here alone in the first place?" He clenched his teeth and glared at me stubbornly. "If you want to keep deluding yourself," I shrugged, "it's none of my business. I'd actually enjoy watching you two crash and burn, since I love a good drama. But let me give you a heads up. That woman who supposedly only loves you once told me she'd never marry a divorced man. What you do next is up to you." I touched up my lipstick and walked out. In situations like these, Ava usually doesn't show up. Everyone says the heir to the J group is low-key and mysterious, especially since she went abroad. There are all sorts of wild tales about her. Some say she moved overseas to expand the business, showing both ambition and capability that make her stand out among her peers. Others say she's abroad to heal a broken heart from her first love. So even though Ava isn't physically around, her stories are everywhere. At tonight's party, people brought her up again, with everyone eager to connect and partner with this new rising star. Who was Ava's first love, anyway? Someone wondered aloud. When I got back to the ballroom, I overheard Chloe discussing Ava and her mysterious first love with someone. They laughed. "Chloe, you want to partner with Ava too?" Chloe just smiled and nodded knowingly. Did I just catch something juicy? Chloe wanted to partner with Ava? She had just had a major blow-up with Ava and was now practically a nuisance to her. When the party ended, I said my goodbyes and was about to get in my car when Chloe approached me again. Mark wasn't with her. "Liam," she said as she joined me, "I know you're interested in that project. You know I also want in on it." I thought she was going to boldly suggest teaming up again, but instead she said, "I could let you have it. If we renew our engagement, what do you think?" I glanced over to see Mark emerging from behind her. He saw Chloe with me but didn't approach, just stood at the hotel entrance, looking deep in thought. I shifted my focus back to Chloe. Before I could reply, Ava's voice called out, "Honey, are you ready?" Chloe spotted Ava, and her face twisted with mild annoyance, which quickly turned to mockery when she saw Ava's car. "Liam," she said, "I can't believe you're into a woman who needs you to get her a car. Think about what I said. I'm about to partner with Ava. Her company's backing can offer you more benefits than that photographer ever could." She chuckled. "Though I admit, I can't take pictures like she does. You've got a week to think it over," Chloe added with a cryptic look, then left. Ava and I exchanged a glance before getting in the car. "Where did your parents find this idiot to set you up with?" Ava asked once we were inside. I felt a bit insulted. A week later, Chloe arranged to meet again. I knew I shouldn't be wasting my time with her, yet I couldn't resist. In a busy life, having an occasional idiot pop in to spice things up is a special treat. This time, Chloe chose a vineyard for our rendezvous. As I sat down, she poured me a glass of red wine. "Try this. I made it myself." I smiled at her. "Wow, you're amazing." Chloe blushed, the picture of pure innocence, but it only lasted a moment before she got smug again. "Liam, have you made up your mind?" I gently rubbed the rim of the glass. You've been waiting all week for me to decide? Chloe held my gaze. Of course. That makes sense, I nodded. What do you mean, makes sense? She asked, confused. I got the project, I said gratefully. If you hadn't spent the entire week doing nothing, I might not have snagged it so quickly. Chloe opened her mouth, but I didn't let her speak. Thanks to your inaction, you saved minutes of my time. I owe you my gratitude. Chloe was no fool. She knew my message. Beating her had taken me mere minutes. Her brow furrowed. What are you saying? I tilted my head with a grin. I'm saying you're not fit to be my competition? Chloe stood up. Are you saying the engagement is off? With an admiring look, I replied, You catch on quick. Liam, you're playing with me, she fumed, humiliated. But soon she reverted to her usual self-righteousness. It's just a project. Do you really think I care? Liam, I was going to let it slide, because we've known each other since we were kids. But you brought this on yourself. She threw out the harsh remark and walked away with big, angry strides. That idiot just swept away my fatigue in an instant. I had been eyeing Chloe's project for a while, had made several proposals, and had even beaten out a few competitors. I finally signed the deal the day before yesterday. Landing a big project and now also having some drama to enjoy, life was pretty sweet. I went to find Ava, planning to celebrate. Her parents were there too, which I didn't expect. It turned out they were there to support Ava as she officially took over as president of the company. Ava's mom held my hand, saying, This daughter of mine, taking over as president before marrying you, seems fitting, right? Their internal power struggles were like those of any wealthy family. I just didn't think Ava would come back after a year abroad and immediately snag the president position. Her going abroad definitely wasn't just because of our breakup. Sure enough, after Ava's parents left, she admitted it. I went abroad mainly for the company's sake, but when you wanted to break up, I just couldn't deal with it all, so I left. She coughed, looked down, and then watched me with puppy dog eyes, as if she were pleading. But I didn't want to break up, so I secretly looked into your fiancé. I rolled my eyes. So the story that you went abroad because of a broken heart from your first love, that was for my ears. Ava nodded cautiously. Yeah, for you to hear. Unbelievable. And you blocked me. I couldn't just go a whole year with no news. What if I forgot about you? I can't just let this slide. I have to give her a piece of my mind, or I'll feel uneasy. So I get it, I said. The president position is more important to you than I am. Ava looked at me with insightful eyes. If I can't snag the top job, would you still marry me? I know your standards for a partner are high. Gotta be handsome, fit, low-key but mysterious, good at cooking, super capable. If I lose to my siblings, you definitely wouldn't want me. She started pitying herself again. But why did I feel like this was a humble brag? She did hold herself to that standard, though. Now I was the one feeling awkward. I was just talking casually. I was young and had dreams, you know. Ava stood up straight and tall. So I don't have to act all otherworldly in the future? Of course not. You're not a celestial being. She suddenly leaned toward my ear. So, can I go to the bathroom in front of you now? Get lost! Ava and I went to celebrate my project success. I didn't expect to run into Chloe at the company entrance. She was sincerely telling the receptionist, Just give me 10 minutes. Please allow me to see her. I tugged Ava along. Chloe? Chloe was surprised to see both of us. Liam, you came to see Ava too? Are you doing this on purpose to get back at me? She gave Ava a once-over. I'd advise you to get lost quickly. This isn't a place for people like you. Just then, someone approached and bowed deeply to Ava. President, I'll escort her out now. Chloe's contempt faded. She stood there, dumbfounded, staring at Ava. After a moment, she blurted out, "President?" The person beside her explained, "This is our company's new president, Miss Ava J." Chloe's eyes widened. "You're Ava J?" Her face turned pale as she gulped several times. You're Ava J?" She looked at me in disbelief. "When did you two get together?" Ava pulled me close, introducing, "My first love, Liam, and I'm his first love too," she said proudly. Chloe didn't have time to respond before being escorted out, still shouting, "Ava, let me explain. Liam, speak up for me. We've known each other since forever." Ava snapped. I'm even more upset now that she brought that up. Being childhood pals was nothing special. As I continued watching where Chloe was being taken, Ava nudged me. "Still looking? Is it that interesting?" I nodded. "Yeah, having an idiot in the mix makes it kind of fun for us." Ava snorted. "Interesting my ass." She wasn't acting like the aloof CEOs in those novels anymore. She was really letting loose. When we got in the car, Ava leaned over, looking at me seriously. "Liam, there's something I want to tell you." I nodded. "Go on." "I'm not a CEO, and I'm not cool at all. Will you still like me?" Her eyes were full of hope. I pressed my lips together to stifle a laugh. "Yes, I will." She cleared her throat and asked cautiously, "And if I'm a bit of a lovesick fool, will you still like me?" I was about to burst into laughter, biting my lower lip and nodding. "Yes." Ava sighed in relief and hugged me tightly. "You're the best." Suddenly, I felt like I didn't know this version of her at all. But isn't that better? More exciting, right? When Chloe found me again, she looked a lot worse off. Nothing like her usual arrogant self. "Liam, please say something nice to Ava for me. Everyone in the industry knows I messed with her. No one wants to work with me. And even my family is abandoning me. I'm really at a dead end." She kept playing on our history. "We grew up together. Help me out, would you? I'm begging you." I shook my head. "No way." After how she had humiliated me in the studio, did she really think I'd help her? Was I some kind of fool? "Just don't contact me anymore. I don't want to see you." I got up to leave. Chloe hasn't come looking for me since, but I did see her one day. She was arguing with Mark on the street. "I gave you so much money and bought you a house, and now you won't sell it to help me?" Mark guarded himself with his arms. "Those were gifts. Plus, didn't you always say you wouldn't take a second-hand good? So why are you begging this second-hand good now?" "Chloe, I won't help you. I have zero feelings for you now. I regret ever liking you. Just looking at you makes me sick. Get lost." Mark shrugged her off and walked away quickly. When he saw me, he raised his chin and walked over. "Liam, thanks for giving me a heads up. I've saved up a bit and figured out how I want to live. Life's pretty good. As for Chloe, you can have her if you want. I'm done." I shrugged. "You don't want her, and neither do I." Mark went abroad again. The money Chloe had given him was enough for him to pursue the life he wanted overseas. What he did wasn't my concern anyway. Because Chloe had been clinging to me before, Ava exposed her for maintaining an engagement with me while still being mixed up with her ex. The family group's stock plummeted, and they immediately announced they had no further ties with her. Now, Chloe was just a pest nobody wanted around. What happened to her next was her own problem. Ava started planning our wedding. A week before we were set to register, she handed me an agreement transferring all her personal assets to my name. I wasn't exactly surprised, but I couldn't help asking, "Why are you giving me everything?" Ava looked at me with a straightforward expression. "Just wanna? Didn't you say you like that? I'll give you anything you want. Haven't I told you? I'm a bit lovesick." I twitched at the corner of my eye and laughed awkwardly. "That's more than a bit." "What do you mean?" Ava suddenly seemed defensive. You said even if I am lovesick, you'd still like me. You better keep your word. If you like competing so much, then let's keep things as they were. I won't take it easy on you, you can count on that. But remember, she said, whatever I gain, it'll end up being yours anyway. Isn't it a little less fun and exciting that way? Liam, won't you find me boring? I shook my head. No. I couldn't help but wrap my arms around her, patting her head. This girl self-deprecates so much I almost feel sorry for her. Sweetheart, let's be confident. I love you no matter what. Ava straightened her back, and just like that, she was back to her old self. The day I married Ava, my grandpa gave me the CEO position of the company. I did a great job with the Yukon project, so I earned it. Sure, I know marrying Ava played a tiny role in that. I'd like to rely on myself, but my wife is just too competent. And that's out of my hands. My incredibly capable wife whispered in my ear during the ceremony. I feel like crying. What do I do? I turned my head, amused. Then cry. Ava's eyes welled up instantly. She hugged me tightly. I finally made my dream come true. I laughed in her embrace. What's your dream? My dream is to be the most special person to Liam.